Hi, welcome. Let's take a look at another 3D movie. This one is called Pixels. This one is released by Sony back when they used to release 3D in the US in their signature clear cases. This one has a beautiful violet embossed logo, Blu-ray logo on the case. And before long, this was one of the Blu-rays that made it to some discount stores, like in my area, that would be Big Lots. Um, Other areas have that too. They have a lot of Blu-ray, including 3D, that will often show up in the discount. Sometimes it's ultra discounted, like for instance, this one was only $1.25. So anyway, this film was directed by the famous director Chris Columbus, but it's an Adam Sandler movie. His weird brand of humor. He did make another family film, Bedtime Stories, but that one is on Disney Plus. That was a very funny movie. Um, this one is also family-ish. I mean, it did get a PG-13, but I think it's kind of on the softer end of PG-13. It does have a couple off-color jokes, but for the most part, it's pretty. For the most part, it's family friendly. It's not like s- strong violence or anything. It's just colorful, cartoonish action, and that's because of the plot of the film. It's about an alien invasion, but the aliens are taking on the forms of 1980s video games. And they're making some sort of a twisted game with the humans where they have to recreate these games like augmented reality almost. These 2D pixelized games, pixels, uh, augmented in the real world. And in 3 dimensions, they have to act out the games and beat the games. It starts out with the prologue that sets up the characters in the 80s with the young Adam Sandler and the other supporting characters. And I'm going to be honest, this is a premise I'm a little tired of because everyone and their brother is doing this. Like every movie, TV show, like a sickening amount of 80s nostalgia. I'm sorry. There is such a thing as too much, and I think it's being overdone a little bit. They see someone else do it, they imitate them, and it's just very, very derivative. And that kind of excess nostalgia does not translate well to later generations. In other words, the final product won't be as understood or as timeless. Not quite an objective view of it. That's kind of like what we got with Star Wars The Force Awakens. That first movie in the trilogy was just J.J. Abrams wanting to recreate his own childhood or perhaps his flawed memory of it. And it was, in that sense, it was one dimensional and not as objective or progressive as it could be. But I'm done with my rant. Sorry about that. Back to Pixels. Yeah, 1980s. So they're in this video game tournament. There's great visuals. I'll just say it right off the bat. If you like 3D and you can get this affordably, even if you can't, I mean, go for it. It's a great 3D experience in multiple ways. During the scenes of them playing video games, there's all kinds of layers going on, strong depth and all kinds of layers from the live action to the 8-bit graphics. Anyway, then it goes to the present day, and Adam Sandler is installing TVs, among other things, for a living. And it relating to 3D, it's funny. On this first job in the film, the kid in the house mentions that they have a new 4K 3D TV. Isn't that the holy grail, right? They didn't make too many 4K 3D TVs. I mean, a lot of projectors, but not too many TVs. There's a very small period of time there. And those are well appreciated by 3D fans. And this film was actually made in 2015, so that was right before those four, and as and before that year and the next when 4K 3D TVs were coming out. And then they stopped the 3D and the flat panels altogether. I'm going on another rant, aren't I? Sorry about that. Anyway, one of his childhood friends is played by Kevin James. Very funny guy. He's funny in pretty much anything that he's in. And the shocking twist out of nowhere is that, okay, he's the President of the United States. That was like way out of left field. I did not see that coming, but okay. And he still hangs out with his friends. There they are in the Oval Office. And speaking of him being the president and 4K 3D TVs, take a look at this shot. Do you recognize that TV that he's on? Yes, that was what I believe was the first 4K 3D TV made by the maker of this movie, Sony. It was a big 4K screen with passive 3D. Sony usually did active 3D, but this one was passive, which allowed for full HD, which 2K passive didn't do. And it had big speakers on the side. And this was before HDR, of course. And a lot of licensed video games, of course, make it into the real world in this film, such as Pac-Man. And they actually play a huge scale version of Pac-Man. Pac-Man is a large ball, and the Ghost, which are the main characters, they drive around in colored cars that match the colors of the Ghost. And funnily enough, the creator of Pac-Man actually has a pretty significant role in this scene. In line with the title of the film, a lot of things get pixelized, which leads to some pretty unusual, interesting 3D graphics. This juxtaposition of real-world texture and pixelized blocks. There's also some beyond-the-frame effects. I'm not sure what the technical term for that is. I think I've heard one, but I can't place it at the moment. If you know what it is, comment below, tell me. It's where the letterboxing, the black bars on the top and bottom, where something in the visuals crosses beyond that and is like floats above the black bar to give the illusion of even more depth. It like enhances the 3D. And basically just a lot of well done, bright, colorful, semi-transparent eye candy. And some funny stuff too. An old lady doing an exercise video. Why not? Not noticing the centipede behind her. Sure. And all culminating in an epic game of Donkey Kong. So in a sense, it kind of reminded me of Wreck-It Ralph as well, because they were able to officially license all these characters and bring them together in one movie. So, but even if video games aren't your thing, just for 3D alone, yeah, this one's a keeper. Check it out. I'll see you next time.